I got to send this to you.
We are live. What are you doing? You got to be looking at the camera.
Trying to get your office ready.
Trying to get my office ready. Hey, by the way, will you get me a really nice office chair for my new office?
Sure.
Will you get me a really nice conference table for the new office?
Sure.
Will you take me to Key West for Labor Day?
Well, apparently it's going to be 3 weeks before we can do any of that.
We can drive.
No, I don't like to drive.
So when your plane's ready, will you take me to Key West?
Sure.
Okay. So April was late coming in today. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Winning Together.
Actually wasn't late.
You weren't late? I'm sorry. Okay. I thought April was going to be late, but she came in on time, just on time. She's never been late, Paul. She's never been late. I've been late, and I apologize. I promise I will do better. I vow to be better, and I vow to never be late again. Smith doesn't believe me. You were almost late today. Why were you almost late today?
Went to the bank for you and got caught by a train both ways.
That's winning together right there. That's sacrificing for the home team. Somebody had to deposit those checks.
Yes.
You don't mind doing that?
I put them in my account, but
I totally understand. And I do not doubt that. Thank you for watching. If you will, like and share this. If you'd like for me to say your name, if you'd like to hear April say your name, then just give us a comment. Let us know you're watching. Let us know what you think about the show. I was asking you several questions there. Let me continue to ask you some more questions. Will you go with me to one of our dealers that are doing events with us and let me get a new truck?
No.
Why?
Because you just got one.
Okay.
I can get a new one.
Okay, so you think. All right, so there was what I wrote down. The only question I wrote down, I was going to try to tell you guys about it before April got here. And my question for today is, should you tell your spouse or your partner no? And obviously, we found your tipping point there. We found your tipping point there when we got to, can I trade my truck? I guess I did I was the last person to get.
Actually, the last two.
Now stay close. This is why I wear headphones, and April doesn't like the way they feel or look on her head, so she doesn't do that. But I like to hear the volume. Make sure you stay close to it. I want to make sure everybody hears what you said. So tell me again. You said it was okay for you to trade, but it's not okay for me to trade. Even I'm talking about from one of our dealer partners that does multiple events with us. I want to support them.
Absolutely. You can buy me one from there because I got one 2 years ago.
So it's time for you. Mm-hmm. Okay. So guys, you tell me what you think. Should you tell your spouse or significant other or your partner no? April, she said she would take me to the Key West. What else did she say yes to? Or I got about 5 yeses.
Office chair. A conference table.
Will you design my new sign for the new office?
I've already done that.
You've already done that, so that's a yes. Can I wrap the Digi Ninja Express Bravo in like a Digi Ninja wrap?
Sure.
You don't care? Make sure you stay close. So it looks like April's very good at saying yes to me. And I have to admit, she rarely says no. I can't believe you said no to me getting a new truck.
With 4,000 miles on it?
It almost has 5,000 miles, but okay. The most important part is these dealers that support us need our support. Okay. So what do you?
I agree.
What type of new vehicle do you want?
What? You know what I want.
Well, sometimes you look at.
Sometimes I look at
cars. You're going to stick with the SUV?
Yeah, I don't want a car.
Peggy Mazer said, absolutely. I guess she says you should tell your spouse no. Peggy, if you don't mind.
There's sometimes, but not very many.
Not very many times. I know, Peggy. I bet she doesn't tell Dr. Mazer no very much. I mean, how could you say no? But here's the thing. Your partner should only, you're not going to agree on everything, are you?
No,
you never see that. Okay. That was a hard no. But you got to trust your partner and maybe, I guess in some situations, there's someone who probably is worse at making decisions. You know, there's probably, I can't speak to that because you're very good at making decisions. I trust your decisions. That's why I never say no to you doing.
Well, I mean, I don't really make real big decisions
Okay.
without you.
Do you but I trust your decision making, true?
Okay.
Is it important to trust your partner's decision making?
Yeah.
Not if what if they're an idiot?
Well, some people don't know they're idiots.
Right. That's the dangerous people. You know, to that point, a smart person that knows that they're smart is in no danger of hurting you. A dumb person that knows that they are dumb is in no danger of hurting you. But and a smart person that doesn't even realize they're smart, they're in no danger of hurting you. But a dumb person who thinks they're smart will wreak havoc on their environment for sure.
Yes.
You know anybody like that?
Yes.
No comment. Okay.
Yes.
So for the most part, you would agree that it's best if you definitely believe in saying yes as much as possible. You rarely tell me no. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Why?
You don't really ask permission though.
I don't.
No.
But I ask you to do I ask you to do things for me.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah. You rarely say no to that as well.
No, I don't.
Okay. So there you have it. Winning together. Say yes as much as possible. Do you remember that movie? Yes Man or Yes? It was with Jim Carrey, wasn't it?
Yes.
That was hilarious. What's your favorite movie, by the way?
Pretty Woman.
Pretty Woman? That sounds about right. Okay. Okay. Well, there's a reason why I say that. We have people, we have a lot of people watching right now. Tell everybody watching, including Peggy and Sarah, who were nice enough to comment. The rest of you need to comment too. Here's a do I know April? Do I really know April? I think I know what she's going to say. I think she knows the answer to this question. What's the first thing I said about you when I met you? Really? True story.
That I was the prettiest girl you ever seen.
Say it clearly right there in the microphone.
They heard me.
Say it again.
That I was the prettiest girl you ever seen.
I said, "Wow, that's the prettiest girl I've ever seen." So that worked out pretty good. So the fact that your movie's Pretty Woman is pretty good. Now let's get down to something that is not as fun to talk about as always saying yes to your partner.
Okay.
We're going to talk. We talked about kids a little bit in the past. We have a blended family that works out well. It's tough. If you need some, we're not qualified to give much advice, but I think in raising a blended family, we're pretty good at.
Yeah, we got that right.
We got that right. Okay. When it comes to children, I have to call them children because my great grandmother said that kids were billy goats or goats. So she always called the children.
She did not like the kids word.
She didn't like the kids word. So when it comes to children and education, how important is education for your children?
I think it's very important, but I think the most important thing is that education is something that you're actually going to use.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think going to get an education for the sake of education makes no sense.
And by the way, we have 3 in college because
makes no sense.
We have 3 in college.
Yes.
Because Trevor's taking college classes. So I totally agree. I think education is vitally important if it's going to be something that you're going to use. And here's the other part. How do you feel about debt in a college education?
I personally had debt and had a student loan and paid it off myself and don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think in our situation, where you're going with this, I want to be able to pay for our children's education as long as they are doing their best, performing. Now, I'm not paying for anybody that's not going to class and failing out and not giving it their best. I mean, it'd be cut off immediately. But because ours take it very seriously and have excellent grades, I'm all for helping them. But it didn't hurt me to have debt to go.
No, so if there's such a thing as a good debt, I would say that a debt for an education is a good thing. Now, it's very dangerous. I see people all the time, pulling a lot of credit, being in the car business in the past. I would see people with just tons of debt. I mean, I'm talking about people with bachelor degrees in low paying jobs
Right.
that had $150,000 of student debt. Now
That is unnecessary.
that's totally unnecessary. Totally unnecessary. But there is such thing that's good to, and there is. If there's such thing as good debt, then debt for an education is not a bad idea.
Right. Those people were on the 6 or 7 year plan that's supposed to take 4.
Right. They're just going to, and
Yeah.
now I went to college for a very short time. I had a very little student loans, but from what I understand, you can not only get, I mean, they'll give you a check.
Oh, they'll give you way more money than you need.
They'll give you way more money than you
Way
need.
more money than you need. And when you're young, you don't realize the impact that has on you. We talked to Cooper the other night about it. He was like, "Should I get this?" And we're like, "No,
Yeah.
no."
Well, exactly, and that's because we're blessed and we're very fortunate. We're in a situation where we can decide, since, like you said, since they are doing well and they're focused on their education and their grades, that we can actually pay for that for them, so they're not strapped with debt, because debt's bad. I mean, to have to come back and work for something 20 years, I mean, that, it's not the best case scenario.
But a lot of people have so much because they really don't need they don't need the money. So that's not for their college education. That's to have a good time while they're wherever they are. And they're not responsible enough when you're that age to say no to all that money.
Sarah Stalker has a very good comment there. Click on that for us, Smith.
I can't see.
Sarah Stalker said, it's extremely important. Don't marry an idiot. So I think let's stop the show right here and say that may be the best advice that we've given on this show so far.
Yeah.
Don't marry an idiot. Sometimes you make
Sometimes
mistakes.
you don't know they're idiots right away, though.
Sometimes you make mistakes. It's okay. But anyway, so back to the student debt thing. Here's what I don't want parents to feel guilty about. Okay. If you are not in a situation where you can afford to pay for your child's education,
I was about to go there.
Then don't do it.
We know people that struggle to pay for it, and they sacrifice while their child's having a great time at college and they're eating ham sandwiches.
Yeah.
So they don't have that. That's not when I think it's good.
No.
Mine wasn't paid for.
No. And now college is more expensive now than it was, when we were in school, and the price is going up. I think actually with all this pandemic that's going on and people not actually being able to be in classrooms, the prices might start coming back down. I hope that's true.
So.
I hope that's true as well. But if you are, this is my 2 cents worth. If you have a child that's in high school or going to college, and you are not yet in a financial situation where you can take care of yourself and have cash on hand, you do not need to go broke putting your child through college.
No.
That's really not helpful. No. You might think you're helping them, but the best thing you can do for them is make them do hard things. Yeah. And figure it out.
Well, and talking about Trevor, every class that he takes took last year and this year, and Case and Cooper paid for.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to pay anything if you do it while you're in high school.
So if you're in high school in Georgia and you can take college classes, all the classes you take are free.
All free, books, everything.
Is there any benefit to not taking as many classes as you can, college classes as you can, while you're in high school?
Only negative thing I heard was like Trevor having too many hours to be a JUCO baseball player. That's the only thing I can think of. And then somebody said that wasn't even true. So I'm really not sure there is a negative side other than dashing through life real fast, having a 2-year degree when you get out of high school. But,
yeah,
it's paid for.
Yeah, I think I'd dash right on through there if I was able to
not have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sands had a almost 2-year degree when she graduated high school.
That's pretty wild. Mm-hmm. Sandy McClendon said, "I know you just didn't say don't marry an idiot." Yep, I didn't say it. I repeated it. That's what Sarah Stalker said.
We read the comment.
Yep, that's what Sarah Stalker said. But thank you for
it is true.
It is so true. And sometimes we make mistakes. It's okay. Whoa.
It's your business account.
So somebody thinks, so that's one of my assistants. Okay, just click on that. Put it up there. Billy W. Merritt said, same here. My 17-year-old is in full-time college and it is great. That's what Billy W. Merritt said. And
he doesn't have a 17-year-old. So
So obviously that's one of my assistants who
Oh.
thinks they're logged into
Their account.
They need to make sure they comment on the personal page, not the business page.
comment on the personal page, not the business page. Hey, here's a good topic that's to that point right there. I get impersonated a lot.
Yeah.
So tell the viewers some of the messages that you get and who you get them from. This is pretty entertaining right here.
I get something every week. For a while, I got one every day, 2 or 3 a day.
What would they say? Give me an example.
The best one was a lady called me on the phone, and I don't know why I answered, but I did. And she asked who I was, and I told her. And she said you had taken $1,800 from her,
That I had taken,
and you were on some kind of fish,
like Plenty of Fish,
Plenty of Fish, whatever that is. Yeah, you were on some kind of site, and she fell in love with you, and you took her money. And I said, "Ma'am, it's not my husband. He's not on there. It's somebody." And she said, "Oh, I get it. You're in it with him."
So you got a message from a lady that said that
she called me.
Oh, she
didn't
called
even
you.
get a message. She called me.
She called you and said that I was on a dating site and that I had wooed her
and took her money.
But now the best part, my favorite part of that is she had fallen in love with me.
Oh, she
was in love
with you,
with Billy from Broxton.
Mhm.
On Plenty of Fish.
Except I'm sure whoever it was not even speaking English.
No.
But
so how often do you get messages saying that I'm out there playing the field?
I got 2 last week that said, I actually remember the lady that called me from Hazelhurst.
Yes, we had a local person saying,
She
"Hey,
was I'm not trying to tell on your, or not trying to get in your business, but your husband's been messaging me." And I said, "No, he hadn't."
I tell you something that's entertaining. If you will go to the search bar in Facebook, and what's even more entertaining, if you go to the search bar in Instagram and you put Billy Merritt in there, and you will get you can even put Billy W. Merritt. They used to leave my middle initial out,
Yeah,
but
now they don't.
Now
and
they put
dot it and everything.
Yes. Now they put in Billy W. Merritt. It'll be my picture, my name, and some guy from Pakistan.
Sometimes not your name though.
Yeah, sometimes
it's a made up name.
Vermont.
But it's always that he's this poor widowed guy with a daughter. They never say anything about our boys. It's always
they'll have a picture.
They
have a picture of me and Chloe, and I'm in most of the stories that they're out there impersonating me. I am a widower.
And when they call me, they say, "He told me you died." That's true.
Oh, that is hilarious. So tell me if you, I know I've seen several people comment that they get impersonated. Let me know if you have been impersonated. And I tell you what, this would be cool. Search Billy W. Merritt on Instagram and screenshot what you see. See if you'll do that. Sarah's pretty fast on the computer. Sarah, screenshot Billy W. Merritt on Instagram, or Billy Merritt on Instagram. See what shows up. And then then put that in the comments for us.
I'm actually not sure that they can leave an image in the comments on live stream. I haven't been able to.
Okay. Brandon Hayes, that is an excellent question. And actually, my producers and Sarah are working on that to get the real account verified. That's a must. I must get my account verified. And here's why. The other day, here's what these people do. Here's the scam, and it's pretty scary. They will go in, impersonate me with my pictures, my name, send friend requests to my friends,
comment on my post,
comment on her post, and then report that my account is a fake account. And the other day I got my account taken down for about 48 hours. Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
a long time. And I have an internet business. I have, a software business, but it's a Facebook based business. And I was out of business. And luckily we have 50 some odd employees, and you still had your account, and everybody, we still had our ads manager account, which, by the way, this is scary, because I believe that the only reason I was able to get my account back is because Sarah was able to go in and talk. We have a real live rep with Facebook, because we spent a ton of money on Facebook ads. So she was able to go in with the account manager and say, "Look, this is really him." an imposter wouldn't have spent $6 million on Facebook ads with you, so that they were able to actually get it reviewed. Oh my goodness. come on the screen. You got to see Paul. Hey,
This happens a lot.
Crazy
zoom in on it.
person.
Zoom in on it.
You'll see that what this tag is.
He had on his name
Can you
tag.
read it?
Hello, my name is Billy
Billy
W.
W.
Merritt.
Merritt.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So, what do you think the purpose of people trying to impersonate me? What's the purpose?
I mean, they're obviously getting a bunch of money.
Getting money. It's amazing what you can do to get money. You can go on there and claim to be someone else, and that's wild. But you said Smith, you said they couldn't put the comments in, not in the live video. Okay, we'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll do it later. So again, thank you for everyone who has commented. I appreciate it when you do comment. Like yesterday, we had a ton. Did you see yesterday's show with Felipe?
I saw most of it.
Saw most of
yes.
it. That was a great show. That guy really brought some power to the to what we talk about, and being a sales expert and being in the system, our sales system for so long. I think he showed Smith. Do you feel that Felipe showed his expertise and that he really is an expert in yesterday's show?
I'd say so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did what I saw.
Yeah.
I was working at the same time, so I
Okay.
watched it on the way back.
Well, you know what? You brought that up a couple times already on the show. You were almost late, but you weren't, because you had to go to the bank, make deposits for me. You're not supposed to-
Allegedly.
Allegedly, you think you put them in your account,
No,
and-
I really did.
and then we sort of did.
Yeah.
And then now you're making a point to let me know that yesterday while I was on the show, you were working.
Yeah.
So are you trying to make sure that I'm aware?
I mean, if you're not, I need to make sure that you
I
are.
was going to say, I think I'm pretty aware, most of the time that you're working, because one thing's for sure, we're on the same team. We're playing for the same goals. Would you be, we talk a lot about goals. Would you be willing to share any of your goals with the people following? Because yesterday, here's what I talked about with Felipe. I said that I can take the criticism, even if I have some grandiose goal. Like one of my goals is to have $10 million in one bank account just for a charity. We talked about that before, so I think you would share in that goal with me. But a lot of people talk. They like, and Sean Hayes said he'll get on there and he'll tell the world what his goals are. Now, some people say, don't cast your pearls before the swine. Don't let people know what you're doing till after you've done it. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't mind sharing goals. I don't like the arrogance and the bragging part of it after. I'd rather you tell me that's what you're going to do rather than all the how wonderful you are.
Yeah.
But
So sharing goals is inspirational. Bragging about reaching goals may be a little turdish.
yeah, I don't like the bragging thing. I don't like the arrogance.
On this topic, 'cause I've seen a lot of people.
You got to get a
say-
microphone.
I know.
Smith talking. Go ahead.
There's an issue with me where I'll put out some of the goals or announce something,
Mhm.
and I sort of get the satisfaction there.
Yeah.
Before I actually put it
Okay,
out.
so Smith's made a good point right there. We're talking about goals. We're all about goals. Every single guest we've had so far said it's important to write your goals down. Smith said that he likes to write his goals down, visualize, see himself having that goal, and get satisfaction from it. Then I totally agree with that. Go ahead and enjoy the moment as if it is yours, and then when it happens, you don't have to say, "Hey, look what I did." Okay, and I'll tell you something else that I have found out. When people have wronged me or talked bad about me or made me look like an idiot or ridiculed me when I was struggling, and I want, a lot of ridicule was about, writing the book, starting a Facebook, doing the shows. Who does he think he is? That kind of thing. Right. And the massive success, I said, when I get massively successful, that I would go to those people and say, "Look, bitch," you know what I'm saying?
Whoops.
But what happens is once you achieve that level of
You
success,
don't have anything to
you
prove
don't
anymore.
care. You don't care anymore. It's not about them at all. Now I take satisfaction in seeing where I'm at and where people, because ridicule hardly, if ever, comes
From above you.
it never comes from somebody who's already done what you're trying to do. Never been ridiculed by somebody that's massively successful.
Nope.
But so I do take satisfaction in knowing that, I was, it worked out for me. You were wrong. I was, it worked out. My plan was in tune. Let me say it that way. So, but you absolutely lose, or I do, I lose the desire to say, I told you so, or I like to know that they know, but I don't.
They know.
But I some of the crazy ideas, like when I do this, I'm gonna go show them. But you just lose that because now you're on to the next thing. Now you're on to what can we accomplish next. Let me ask you a question. You've been through every step of the way. What is your take on Billy Merritt Marketing, Digi Ninja, our team? We just hired some new employees, hired a new manager. What's your take on the state of the business?
I think it's awesome right now. I think most people that we have, I don't know a lot of the new ninjas, so because I'm only in here for about an hour or two every week, but I don't know a lot of them. But I do know some of the new managers and everything. I think everybody's on board for the maybe the first time.
Okay, really?
We've got a lot of people that have left, a lot of people that have tried to hurt, that kind of thing, that are not here anymore. And I think that's great. Good thing. I think that's a great thing that they're not here anymore.
Getting rid of some of the riffraff.
If you're not for us, then the only way you can be is against us. And that's not good for us. It's not good for them. And I think for the first time, we might be exactly where we need to be.
I love that idea. Thank you. Let's look at some of the comments. That's Sarah. Let's start with Sarah Stalker right there. True story. Sent the image to the team. Oh, not sure.
Okay.
I think again she's messaging the wrong page.
She's saying that she screenshot and sent it.
Oh, thank you, Sarah.
She sent it there. She just can't do it on here.
See what? And to Terry Bold's point next, teamwork. Terry Bold's. That's exactly what I was about to say. Without my team, I am. I've been effective as right by myself a little bit, but the first thing I did when I started having some success is adding to my team and getting people on the same page. And so Terry Bolds, you're exactly right. Teamwork. If you think about this, and I'm sure it's the same in any successful organization, think about all the experts that we have that are better at key positions.
Right. Well, let's just face it. You're very good at ideas and you are very good at coming up with things. But the execution of all of that and paperwork, not your thing.
Paperwork, I totally agree.
Not your thing.
I totally agree. Now, on the execution, I want to defend my position. I've been very effective at getting things done, even in the beginning. Now, the first person I reached out to for help was you when we had 2-3 pages going, 3 events going for the first time, and there was nobody but you and me, and you were the first unofficial
text ninja,
and we wrote the book. You were the first person to buy the book.
Yep.
So now I'd have to say
first person to read the book.
First person to read the book. Yeah, you read the book before it was actually published. So do you know that? Well, you know what? This is paperwork.
Yeah.
This is paperwork. I was good at this paperwork.
Yeah.
But you from a day-to-day standpoint.
See, now you're getting all offended about that you have 40 people that work for you. Why are they here? If we don't need you, if we don't need them, then why are they here?
April said I was offended. Now I try to take pride in the fact that I'm not easily offended, but did she hit?
You are defending yourself.
Did she hit a nerve right there? Did she hit a nerve? And am I defending my position?
Everybody in this room and elsewhere agrees with me.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was good at one piece of legislature. I was good at one piece of paperwork. And this is the art of text message selling, which, by the way, when you read it for the first time, what were your thoughts?
Oh, it was great.
See, thank you. And it's simple rules that have impacted.
Very simple. It's very simple. Don't ask me to spit out the rules.
That's fine.
I'm not going to be able to do that.
Okay.
But it's a very simplistic book in a good way.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Like anybody can read that and know exactly what you're talking about. Like you said, one day you read this book and it took you a really long time because it had to use these really big words. It's not like that book is not like that at all. I think anybody can understand that book.
I think it's important to, when you're dealing with salespeople, to keep it simple.
Well, I mean, and you can read that book, one chapter, get up and leave it and not have to think about it. You know, like I say, sometimes I like to watch movies that I don't have to think about. You know, I love a good whodunit, but I also like funny and you just are sitting there watching. I think that's kind of like that.
Gotcha.
It's an easy read.
Shout out to Jan Harold Vining, who said, I've enjoyed watching you obtain your goals. Great job. Thank you. Thank you very much, Jan. Wink Cheney said, I'm watching you. I appreciate that. Wink, I'm watching you too. That's Bo Winkle. You know Bo Winkle?
I know him.
Bo Winkle built our pond.
Nope.
Sarah writes a book when she replies.
Yes.
Part of it is hiring the right people and letting them do what they are great at. And that has been from the beginning. I need my glasses.
When they aren't great.
Say it again. When they aren't great or don't want to be great, they move on. You have solid. I do have solid people. Sarah was one of the first investments that we made. Remember when we had some text ninjas, and that's you got to have text ninjas. But when we wanted somebody who could help do some of the things that I was doing, the ads, creating all the ads, placing the ads, ad manager.
She was the first person in behind the scenes, I think.
Yeah, she was the first big investment. We had to have the text ninjas.
Yeah.
A lot of people who copy what we do, they don't make investments in people. They try to handle everything themselves. They don't know how to do that either. Yeah. I've met a couple people who are pretty good at the ads. They're decent at the ads. They do a pretty good job. They're good at creating the ads, and boosting the ads and placing the ads. But they don't know how to scale. They have maybe 8 people. They do 10, 15 events per week.
Right.
But they're capped out until they scale, until they invest in people and let someone else do. You can't be a control freak if you're going to scale. Tony Brown said, "Hey, April, I miss you so much. Heart. You guys are awesome."
Hey, Tony.
Who's Tony?
Tony, I worked with her at Lots.
I understand.
I loved her.
You love Tony. So I know who she was.
Not loved, love her. Sorry.
You love her.
I miss you too.
She's still with us, right? She's still, she hadn't died or anything. She's
clearly commenting.
Okay.
So she's here.
I didn't, maybe somebody had hacked her account. So you love her currently.
Yes, I do.
So I was just wanting you to tell the people who are watching who she was. Where did you meet Tony?
She was, when I say take you to the counter, she was my girl at Lots.
Okay. So she handled the counter and the ticket and the paperwork
and the deliveries and all kinds of stuff. And she was great at it. Might I add.
Good deal. She was great at it. Tony, good to hear from you. Good to see you. So, back to teamwork. Let's talk about teamwork and children. Okay. And so I feel like it's very important. Some people say family first. I agree with that. Family first makes, you know what? If you can't, I don't think you can run a successful business, not a real successful business with real successful growth. I don't think I can help these guys grow and be a better person and be a better business person and be more productive if I'm not doing the same thing with my family.
100% agree with that.
You do agree with that? So people who work 80 hours a week and neglect their family, are they really building a valuable?
No, but sometimes you have to do that though.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you have to do that. No negativity to the guys and girls that are trying to make it work right now. Cause that sometimes is the reality, but you do have to stop that at some point. I mean, well,
no, I wasn't, and please forgive me. I wasn't saying, because I'm all about working 90 hours a week if you can, but I'm saying, and as you know, I try very hard to get our children involved to take interest in the business as well. I'm just saying that if you only focus on work and you disregard your family,
No, I know people that are not even in their family pictures because all they do is work.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not that's not the life I want.
Yeah. I truly question if they can even, if their business is really even a valuable asset, or if it's just a, you know, a distraction or you know.
And sometimes those people would rather be at work than be at home.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's an excuse to not be with your family. But I think it's very important. You know how important I think it is that they, right now we only have two. Case we'll be doing it again next year, I know, but I think it's very important for your children to look up in the stands or the bleachers or the wherever we are and say, hey, they took an hour or two out of their day to come watch me do what I'm doing right now.
Yep, absolutely.
It's the most important thing to them in the world. Like when Trevor looks at me through the fence yesterday, Chloe knew we were there. That's a big deal.
I think
that's a big deal.
I think it can be very meaningful, but I do not want to guilt the parents who are in a situation where they can't do that.
I'm not saying that, but I also think it's important that we are with our employees are sensitive to that.
We 100% are, for sure, but there are people who work for big corporations that
can't. No, I mean, then I've missed a lot of games that I wish I didn't miss.
So in that case, here's what I mean by teamwork at home. It's important to sit down with your children and your significant other and say, hey, here's our priorities. Here's our morals. Here's our beliefs. Here's what we believe in, you know, and have real family meetings and say, hey, by the way, because now you've heard me say this in family meetings and to our children individually. When I was working 80 hours a week at a dealership, taking an underperforming dealership to an overperforming dealership, there was lots of late nights and lots of sacrifice and lots of missed ball games.
Yeah, lots.
But I just sat down, look, and I'd love to be there. I wish I could be there, but I'm doing something right now that requires me all my attention, and I'm doing it with a purpose. I'm doing it now so that one day I won't have to.
Right.
So that's back to that sacrifice thing we talk about so often. So I do not want to guilt. There's times when you have to sacrifice your kids' ball games.
Yeah, yes, that's true.
But you better.
But sacrifice your kids' ball games if you actually are working. I know a lot of people that just don't go.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying.
So the children should definitely be a top priority.
And if you can't make that ball game, because it will,
just tell them.
So
they know.
Here's the deal. I would love to be there, but I'm working on this thing to make sure that we're financially free, because we put a lot of emphasis and importance on financial freedom.
Yes.
And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think sometimes we get a bad rap because they say, you know, we talk about money.
It's also a trade-off for them. They know that they have what they have because of those long hours.
Yeah.
I mean, because we talked to them about that.
Exactly. I think it's important, and we haven't done it enough. So I think it's time we'll use this show to take another step in our family. It's time to sit back down with our family around a kitchen table, around a dining room table with no phones, but a piece of paper and a notepad, and talk about goals and talk about money and talk about where we are. Because you know what's so sad? And I think I've told you this sometimes, but I'm going to tell you something. The saddest thing that I see when I'm interviewing young people for a starter position is I'll ask them about money. What's your money goals? And they'll usually say something like, well, I just want to make some, or I want to be rich. No, they don't even say that. They do not. I've yet to have one tell me they want to be rich.
Really?
Yes. And that I've hired hundreds. They'll say, well, I just want to, get a good job and education. Ugh.
Well, that's what they were told.
Exactly.
They were told they were supposed to do.
So what I'm suggesting heavily that you do, sit your kids down, and the first thing you need to tell them is, hey, do you know that you can have everything you want, including financial freedom? Like, make that a goal. Don't hide from it. I mean, I think a lot of people don't understand money. And
remember how mad I was when the teacher, which one of our children, Trevor, at school, they had a day of what do you want to be when you grow up? And at our house, you can be whatever you want to be. I mean, it can be a purple elephant if that's what you want to be. You can be whatever you want to be. We're not ones to say you can't do that. And he said he was going to be a Major League Baseball player. And that child has believed it since he held a bat. And she said, you need to pick something else. You need to be a little more realistic than that.
A little more realistic.
I was so angry.
Yeah.
So angry. She was like, do you know that 1% of people? I sure do.
Yeah.
And maybe he's the 1%. Maybe he's not.
And-
But never do you tell somebody what they can't do.
Well,
Never.
You know, and I'm glad you brought that word realistic up. Here is something you may want to put 3 stars by right here. When you are writing your goals, throw realistic out the window. Sit down and write your goals exactly what you want, whatever you could have. Don't worry about the plan. Write down the goal. Be as real
And unrealistic as you can be.
Be as real as you possibly can about what you really, 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 really would like to have. Don't worry about the plan. You just put it down and then you go after it, because you may or may not hit that goal. But you
hit a lot on the way.
And you dang sure won't hit that goal if you don't go for it. You
try.
don't accidentally hit a huge goal.
No.
You don't accidentally make $1 million.
No.
You know, a lot of people, when they had their goals more like wish lists, like I'd like to hit the lottery, you know, things. And I've said that before. Sure, I'd love to win the lottery, but you know what's better than winning the lottery is figuring out how to do it with hard work and productivity. You know what I'm
And
saying?
something that you love.
Yeah. Yep.
You hope. That's hope. Crossing your fingers, wishing.
Yep.
You're gonna hit
Nothing
the
wrong with
lottery.
hope. I like that. The emotion
I mean,
of hope, but like just hoping and no action, no plan. No. So, you know, we talk about getting the wife on board. We wouldn't be where we're at with this company if you weren't on board, willing to do whatever it takes when we need something done. You know, you're always willing to jump in there. We're definitely on the same path, same plan. We have 2 of our boys on the same plan, somewhat. You know, they still have to finish college. But I think it's vitally important to get your kids on the same page with you when it comes to your finances. I'm talking about 12-year-old kids need to know where you're at, what the plan is, if you're broke.
Well, and what money is.
Yeah, and how to use money.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we've learned a lot in the last 10 years about assets and liabilities. So one thing that this is in Rich Dad Poor Dad. Robert Kiyosaki said the secret that the rich have to staying rich is they teach their kids to acquire assets and to eliminate liabilities.
Mm-hmm.
You know, money has a purpose, and that is the purpose of money is to acquire assets. What are some examples of assets that you're familiar with that are simple enough that you can tell your children, hey, you need to be acquiring these assets when you have a little money? What are some examples of assets?
What we do, I mean, you have to be 18, but Trevor bought his first stock when he was 18. And Case and Cooper have stocks. You don't have to have a bunch of money to start that. And if they start when they're 18, it can have a huge impact on their life.
If they would regularly invest in stocks and just, you know, there's plenty of education out there, free education on what to invest in stock wise, different companies. We've invested somewhat heavily in Apple in the last few months, and it's just shooting up like a rocket, you know. And we had Russ Story on here, so I mean, you can start a wealth manager, Russ Story. You can start with someone like him. By the way, Russ, I had several people reach out to me that said they've already reached out to you because he was on the show. I'll be looking for that bird dog commission.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But anyway, you can get on a plan where you just invest in stocks. You know, you don't have to have a lot of money, but if you just keep investing in it, then what's something else what's another asset?
I'm trying to think for kids.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, anything that creates a cash flow is an asset. You know, I know people who have invested in one bubble gum machine at a time. That thing, you feed it it spits out money. And then I know companies that make millions of dollars with bubble gum machines.
Or maybe using your own personal, like Trevor helping people with hitting and stuff. I mean, he's using his
services,
his goal, and to help other people. I mean,
so creating a service, offering a service can be a cash producing asset for sure. What's some examples of liabilities that so many young people like to spend their money on? And there's a huge difference between spending and investing. What's something that young people love to spend their money on that is a liability?
Cars.
Yeah. We have to have a car.
Yeah. I mean, you have to have a car, but most people want a brand new car when they don't have the money to have a brand new car. I mean, which, no stones, we've been there too.
So,
but I think the biggest thing that our kids spend money on is food.
Yeah.
They don't think about the food that I mean, every day one of them's posting something and it's a $20 meal.
Yeah.
And you don't.
It would be, you could definitely put your money somewhere else and not eat the $20 meal every lunch.
Yeah.
Here's something that I see a lot of young people fall victim to. Not that I had them too. 4-wheelers, side by sides, financing 4-wheelers and side by sides, and then you have people who maybe they've already graduated high school, who are still, our kids, we've had 2 already graduate, that start making money, and they start financing everything, credit cards, terrible liability. And, you just because you're making money doesn't mean that you're financially stable,
able to buy those things. That's honestly the saddest part to me. Is when somebody graduates high school, graduates with a college degree, technical degree, whatever it may be, and they have no clue how to balance the money that they're making. No clue. I
had a good friend of mine who's very good at managing his money, and his nephew pulled up to him. He was out in the yard, and he said, "How do you like my new truck, Uncle?" And he said, this is about a 20-year-old kid, I think, that just graduated and just went to work. And Uncle said, "I love it, man. I tell you, I want you to have great things and nice things. And but buddy, you don't even have a home yet. You don't even have a house. And this was a $45,000 truck." And he's like, "Well, they said I could get approved for it." He said, "I want you to have nice things. I want you to have nice things, but I'm just going to give you my opinion. You need to take that truck back, get your truck. You save you some money and put down on a house," which we'll talk about in just a second. And sure enough, he went back to the dealership and
he bought it.
No, he didn't.
Oh, I thought he did.
He bought a nicer one. He went back.
Oh,
I
was going to say, I thought he did.
And come back home with a $55,000 truck. But anyway, so, but Uncle C, we'll call him Uncle C. He believes in,
Uncle C might be the most frugal person I know.
He does a fantastic job with it. I mean, he's worked at the same place for 25 years, and he's got
awesome though.
Substantial amount of money saved.
Crazy story.
Yes. So, maybe we'll get him on here one day. Probably not. He likes to stay under the radar, which is fine. No. But he believes in buying a house and building some equity and building wealth. What's your thoughts and beliefs and ideas on opinion about buying a house? Because there's lots of differing opinions about.
No, I'm all for that.
You're all for a house.
I'm all for a house.
Okay. And Robert Kiyosaki says a house is not an asset. And I understand why he says that.
Yeah.
Because you have light bills, you have, your upkeep, you have new shingles every 20 years, you have landscaping, you have all these things. And there is a substantial amount of the American net worth, Grant Cardone says, trapped or just stuck in home equity not being used. Yeah. But here's why I agree with you for certain people. There's no doubt that if you are in a bigger city, if you're in Miami or Jacksonville or somewhere, and you can rent sometimes $2,000 a month at these places, where a mortgage might be $3,000, then you have all these added things. So I can understand renting for 10 years, stacking that cash,
we did.
Yeah, we did.
We did.
We didn't do it because it was an asset. We did it
We did because we had to.
yeah,
Let's
we
just be
couldn't.
honest.
We didn't have the ability to buy a house when we got together. But for people who aren't going to just go, because everybody's not going to go 10x all in. I'm gonna invest 40% of my money into real estate, into a real estate fund, and I'm just going to keep renting my house and just keep doubling that over and over. Everybody's not going to do that. So, but I think that because everybody just can't grasp that. So I don't think we need to throw the other people away that don't understand. Sure, there's no doubt the most effective way to build wealth is to rent something that's adequate and take all your extra money and invest it in something like stocks or real estate, passive income. But everybody's not going to do that. So I agree with you. I think it's a very wise thing for a young person, a young couple, to buy a house, not too much
In their
for a house,
price range.
in their price, to buy a house, pay for that house, start building equity, you're saving equity. Hopefully you're getting appreciation, and you got to live somewhere.
Right.
And here's the thing. If you're from rural America, houses are cheap.
Yeah, they are.
And they're about to be cheap in the cities with everybody, all the chaos, people moving out of them. I really think that there's going to be a migration to the rural areas, and that those rural areas might end up actually being more expensive. I see it with property values all the time. Hank, one of our Digi Ninjas who's on site working right now, one of our hosts, he just bought Century. He and his wife just bought Century 21. And he says that, they're just houses are just, and property are just flying, it's killing it in these rural areas right now.
Well, there's not a lot available.
Yeah. It's getting more scarce and more scarce. Hey guys, we're coming up on an hour right here. This has been our third edition of Winning Together. One thing's for sure, I would not be where I'm at without my partner. We are winning together. We don't get everything right, but we get up and we try again every single day. And we would love to share some of our specialized knowledge. I think we're capable, we're qualified to give some advice on some areas. We're definitely not going to give advice in areas that we don't know anything about. Be very careful who you take your advice from. And what would you like to say to all your fans who are out here supporting you today?
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. We love you. See you next time. And tomorrow,
Caleb Wilson.
Dealer Ninja Dealer Academy with Caleb Wilson. It's going to be lit. Going to get lit tomorrow. See you tomorrow, guys.